Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review. That was off, sorry. But welcome back to the next movie review, and today's finally time to get to review the film, which was one of my favorites of last year. Probably is my probably be in my top three. Let's see here. If not in my top four, yeah. It's my top. It's probably either it's number 3 or number 4 on my top favorite. Not worst. My top favorite best films of 2024. And yes, when I say that, I know someone will say I do apologize. I still haven't done my top best films of 2024. I do apologize for that though. I'm so late on it though, but I just had other things to do though, so I do apologize for. I promise I'll try to do that video sometime later on, okay? But things just happen, and I just haven't got a chance to do it though. So I know someone's gonna ask me in the comments where is it going. I know. I apologize for that. But this is another one of the films that is, I said before, probably is my top favorite films of 2024. It's either put pretty much say number 3 or number 4. But the film, but I did enjoy it though. I do have some issues though, but I do still enjoy it. And that is of the 2024 of the only MCU Marvel movie. And that is Deadpool and Wolverine. Yep. So Deadpool and Wolverine released from last year, 2024. And I enjoy it. First of all, because I enjoy the Deadpool. I do enjoy the Deadpool movies. The first film from 2016 I like. I've grown more to like that film. Deadpool 2 I like better than the first film. But Deadpool Wolverine, technically, it's the third film, but the first in the MCU. Because after the whole thing with Fox buying Disney, yes. But I enjoyed the film. But I do have some issues that I have to discuss with the film, though. Like, it's a flawed movie, but at the same time, I still like it. Thing is, though, what made the film work is the two main characters. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. That's what made the film work, and the best part of the film is the chemistry they have. These two have with each other, and that's what made the film work. That's why I enjoy the film, because of these two. Because that's what it's called, Deadpool and Wolverine. And that's why it made the film work. Now, of course, after a lot of people, of course, after the events of 2009's X-Men Origins Wolverine and how poorly they treated Deadpool, people wanted a proper Wolverine with Deadpool film. Because, like I said, after the poorly handled X-Men Origins Wolverine, people for years wanted a proper movie that starred both these actors. And so now, after supposedly the ending of Logan, right, they wanted to... Well, with Hugh Jackman, it was the last time, though, but never say never. Because it's the same thing with Tom Hardy said, like, okay, this Venom 3 will be the last time you'll play Venom. Sorry, no. Whenever someone says it's the last time they'll do something, it's never the last time. So, and that has happened several times. Where they say it's the last time they're going to do something, and they still kept on doing it, right? So, like I said, never say never. But people still wanted a proper Deadpool and Wolverine movie, and that's what people got. And you know what? We pretty much got what we wanted, and that was Deadpool and Wolverine. And so this film came out. It was a massive hit. It was the second highest grossing film of 2024. Made over $1.3 billion worldwide. It broke several records, including the highest opening in July and the highest opening for an R-rated movie. Let alone it became the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. And which basically, and it was the only Marvel movie of the MCU to come out. I would say it's not the only Marvel film that came out in 2012 because we had the other from the other studios, like the Sony movies, which those sucked. Madam Web sucked. Kraven the Hunter sucked. So this is the only MCU movie to come out. And like I said, despite the fact I do like the movie though, I'm just so sick and tired of superhero movies. I really am. I am so burnt out on superhero movies. I really am. Because the next film, which is also the next Marvel movie, and that sucked. And I will say this, yes, I will still say this is a lot better than the next one I'll be reviewing. But despite the fact I do like the film, I'm so burnt out. I'm so tired of superhero movies. Superhero films altogether, whether it's a DC movie or a different kind of superhero movie, Marvel, whatever, we need to take a break altogether. No superhero films, I would probably say, for the next 10 or so years, right, okay? Because we get like about five different superhero movies each year, and just especially recently. But even though this film was successful though, but a lot of the recent superhero movies have been performing poorly at the box office. Probably because a lot of people are, like me, are just getting tired of superhero movies. That's why they have not been doing that well lately, except for this film. That's why people are so burnt out, because people are getting tired of it. And you know what? They're right. It shows in the numbers. But regardless of that, though, I still like Deadpool Wolverine. Now, the film's director. Okay, already the first issue I have with the movie is the director, Shawn Levy. To me, I don't think he was the right guy to direct this movie, because he's not the guy to direct actions like this. Now, yeah, okay, yes, I recently, not that long ago, I reviewed one of his previous films, Big Fat Liar. I liked the movie, but I don't think it was hilarious, or I didn't love the movie. I didn't love it. Shawn Levy, he's a director. I don't think he's not that great of a director overall, though. Despite the fact I do like Big Fat Liar, I do like the first Night at the Museum movie. But I don't like Real Steel. Which, by the way, both of these actors have worked with Shawn Levy. Hugh Jackman with Real Steel, or his cameo appearance as himself in the third Night at the Museum movie as himself. And he's also worked with Ryan Reynolds from Free Guy. I think it was also called The Adam Project. So both these guys have worked with Director Shawn Levy before. But I don't like Real Steel, because pretty much the main reason why I don't like that movie is I don't like Hugh Jackman's character. I don't like his character from the moment he tried to sell his own son for money. That right there did not make me like his character at all. And more, I did not like that movie because of that character. Why would I root for the main character who tried to sell his own son for money? But I don't like Real Steel overall. The first Night of the Museum film, I like. The sequels, not so much. I only watched those sequels because mainly for Robin Williams. Rest in peace to Robin Williams. Because that was the third film was his last film, so I watched that as of respect. But I don't like Real Steel. Big Fat Liar I like, but I didn't love it. The film, I didn't love it though. But you can still check it out. I reviewed that film. For one of the reasons why that film worked, because Paul Giamatti was the best part of the movie. Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds was okay, but it was just there. So, to me, I don't think Shawn Levy, he was the right guy to direct this movie. I think David Leitch would have been a better choice, which he directed Deadpool 2, which I liked. He was going to direct the third film, but he decided he couldn't because he was directing The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling, which I like The Fall Guy. I haven't watched the TV show, because that was a TV show that was starring Lee Majors, but I like the movie, The Fall Guy. So, but he wanted to direct that film instead. To me, I just wish he would have directed that. But I just wish, to me, part of me is like, I wish he would have directed this film instead of Shawn Levy. That's one of the main issues. Is that he was not the right guy to direct this movie. He wasn't. So that's one major issue I have with it. But okay, regardless of that though, I still like the movie though. The opening, I really enjoy the opening of the film. The whole opening with Deadpool fighting the agents from the TVA. If anyone does not know about the TVA, it all started when they first appeared on the TV show of Loki, which I honestly wasn't really big on though. But I mean, Tom Hiddleston was still fine as Loki though. Cool to see Owen Wilson, but I wasn't really big on the Loki TV show anyway. But that's where we first see introduced to the TVA though. So, but the TVA come in, and first of all, how it opens with Ryan Reynolds, which I thought for a lot of times the jokes in this film worked. I thought a lot of times the jokes was funny. How the jokes a lot of times they're poke fun at making fun of Disney, like how he says how he mentions the whole rights issue, and of course with Hugh Jackman's characters like calling him make with his accent, with Hugh Jackman's accent, and calling him Hugh, right? A lot of times the jokes in this film I thought was funny. Or even when he's at his birthday party, he's talking with Blind Al and mentioned about the whole cocaine issue, right? Because it's Disney, right? He's like, we can't use that word because Disney has a list. Kevin Feige, he mentions Feige, Kevin Feige. They have a list. It's like disco dust. You want to build a snowman? Yes, but I can't. That was funny. The whole thing of the whole times when they're making fun of Disney, I thought that was funny too. Or in the first teaser when the TVA show up at his door and he says, like, "Peg isn't new for me, friendo, but it is for Disney." So those jokes I thought were funny. But anyway, getting back to the opening, the whole thing where he mentions about the rights issues of Disney buying Fox, and that he digs. Now the thing is, okay, that's one other thing I had to mention. The whole thing that bugs me. Okay, yes, the whole X-Men timeline. It's one of the biggest messes I've seen for timeline story wise of superhero movies, because the whole X-Men timeline has been screwed up. I mean, you get the first 3 X-Men, and then we get with First Class, and then the First Class through Apocalypse. I mean, the whole changes, like Apocalypse. Like, where Days of Future Past, where they changed everything, the ending of it, and then by the Dark Phoenix, like, the ending of the changes. I'm like, wait, I thought that they made the changes from, they completely undo the changes from X-Men 3, and then the whole timeline for the X-Men was screwed up, like I said before in the past, right? And then with the ending of Logan, which I like, and now, like, the Logan takes place, the timeline in the Deadpool movies. So the Deadpool movies is the same timeline as Logan. Because Logan is supposed to be in the future, years, and pretty much all the mutants are dead. So this takes place before, like, in the timeline. I'm like, actually, I do like Logan though, but that is such a depressing movie, especially the ending. And then, but the whole timeline, like I said, of the X-Men has been so screwed up. So if I get everything wrong, I'm sorry, but just like it like, oh, does this make sense, or did this part of the timeline? Which they do say, like the guy, Mr. Paradox from the TVA, is like, oh, Deadpool's universe is in danger because it lost its anchor being, which is Wolverine from Logan. So okay, so his is in the same timeline as Logan. They blatantly say it. And the whole timeline of that is just so screwed up. You know, that just always bugs me about. Like I said, the X-Men timeline is always one of the most screwed up things they do. You know, screwed up timelines. But getting back to the opening, just like, okay, the whole thing we have about how he digs up Logan's grave, which. Didn't they say by the ending of Logan, they said they're gonna like honor him, like, you know, respect him, you know, but yeah, it's Deadpool they respect him, but yeah, they're gonna use Logan's skeleton, you know, as a joke, right? Using it as a weapon to kill TVA agents. I'm like, wow, that's a great way to respect Logan's wishes, right? Or Hugh Jackman's wishes by being the last one. If you say it was the last one, but it respect Logan, but yet they use it as the joke, which is supposed to be the joke, though. But I'm like, okay. But I still enjoy the opening where the TVA come in. And the whole opening with him, he kills the TVA agents with his skeleton, especially using all the different ways, using the bones to kill them, while dancing to NSYNC's "Bye Bye Bye," which I did not know at the time though, but I guess it apparently is. If you watch X-Men 2 after when they left after the invasion at the mansion, right? And Pyro, Aaron Stanford, who is also in this, comes back as Pyro. He puts on the radio, and for a split second, you hear NSYNC's "Bye Bye Bye," which Wolverine quickly turns it off because it annoyed him. There is a reference right there, which I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that 1 second moment there. Okay. It's funny, he got annoyed by Wolverine got annoyed by NSYNC, but here now his corpse is being used as a weapon during the whole opening to Deadpool with "Bye Bye Bye," which I did not know at the time. Why is "Bye Bye Bye" playing here? Okay, now I get it now. It just for me, it just seemed it came out entirely out of left field. I enjoy the whole thing, how he's using the different ways of the of Wolverine's skeleton to kill the TVA agents, and "Bye Bye Bye," and you have Deadpool dancing to the beat, you know, doing the whole NSYNC dance movements, right? Which, by the way, it's not Ryan Reynolds doing the dancing though. It's another guy who's doing it. So I think it was entitled "Dance Pool." So if people wondering, no, it's not Ryan Reynolds doing the dancing parts to the song. So. That was like, you know, baby, bye, 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 bye. And then then he gets to use Wolverine's claws, and then we get the whole thing set back, where we see Ryan Reynolds in the sacred timeline of the MCU 616, and he's talking to Jon Favreau, once again playing Happy Hogan, and which, by the way. All of a sudden like it's like out of nowhere he wants to be an Avenger, which by the way, like, because before the whole Fox buying, right, and because he did use he was using Cable's timeline or time travel thing to do, right, to fix his mistakes, like for the ending of Deadpool 2, But I was like, okay, back then, like, he didn't know what the Avengers was because of the whole rights issue, right? But just, like, out of nowhere, he wants to be an Avenger. Now, like X-Men, yes, because that was the whole rights thing, right? But now all of a sudden he wants to be an Avenger, like, that kind of, like, came out of nowhere, right? But I did like the moment when he's talking with Jon Favreau. And it's like, he's supposed to be here, and... Well, I think I remember they said, like, Tony, I think it was Tony, right? And he's like, oh, he's not here. And he's like, oh, he doesn't do this kind of thing. Oh, cameos? No, meetings. And in the office, you do get the whole, Stark's, thing, his, what was the thing that was his chest? Because you have the graving thing, like, Tony still has a heart on the whole graving of the whole thing. And, the Iron Man helmet and the half made Captain America shield. But I did like the moment where when he was talking to Jon Favreau. That was a nice moment, and I also think it's with Deadpool, he's kind of like sort of like a midlife crisis, I think, because he wants to like matter. He wants to do something that's great, you know. That's why he said he wants to be an Avenger. And so he's now working with sort of hanging up his coat, right? His hero coat. And he's working with Peter from the previous movie, played by Rob Delaney. And so they're having it now. We have pretty much all the characters from Deadpool 2. Well, most of them, like I said. They're all having it. They're celebrating his birthday. And then we get the poke fun of the Disney joke of with Blind Al, once again played by what was it, her name, was Leslie Uggams, Leslie Uggams, once again playing Blind Al. And the whole thing with the whole cocaine thing was, oh, you can't say that because it's Disney. It's like, you disco dust, and do you want to build a snowman? Yes, but I can't. And we get pretty much all the characters from the same, except for a few of them, which I'm like, why aren't they not here? Which doesn't make sense. I mean, the one that are not present, you don't have Domino, you don't have the kid Russell, or you don't have Cable, or, let alone, you don't have Weasel, once again played by T.J. Miller. Which I know the whole thing, because why T.J. Miller is not in this, because ever since Deadpool 2, there was controversies of him being once again coming back as Weasel in the second film, and that they had a lot of issues. So that's the reason. After like the whole thing with the issues he had with Deadpool 2, this is why he's not like in it though. But it doesn't. But at the same time, it does feel weird that he's not in it because because Deadpool, for the most part, he's talking about saving his world, because his whole world is in that picture with all the people that he cares about in it, right? But it's weird without having Weasel in it, because he was part of that group, you know. Yes, even though they didn't want to bring T.J. Miller back, but still it just feels weird because he talks about his family, everyone he knows that he cares about, but Weasel's not in it though. I know, but it just seems weird that he's not in it, even because he's part of that group that he cares about. It's like they've written him off like he never even existed in the previous two films, you know. That's just. I know. They didn't want to bring him back. I know, but it's still, they should just like. Oh, they could have at least mentioned his character. Oh, he just couldn't be there at the party because he had to do something else, you know. But so, Weasel. I'm sorry. Weasel could not be here right now. He had to do something else. So at least say something like that, you know, instead of just like don't even mention him, like he never even existed in the first place. But and also the thing is though, like we don't have Cable, no Russell or Domino. Or why is Shatterstar in this? Because that's never explained either. That's another part of the whole writing part. Like it's never explained why Shatterstar is in this, even though he got turned into Pilot of Nothing in Deadpool 2 with the whole helicopter blades. even saying Deadpool didn't even like him. So why is he in this? Like, once again, they never explain it, and they don't even make a joke about it. Like, oh, this about him. No, he's in it, but just by the fact he got killed off in the previously. So it's never explained why he's there. But the rest of the cast from the previous ones are there, like Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and her lesbian girlfriend. Dopender, the taxi driver, like I said, Blind Al, his girlfriend, Vanessa, but why Shatterstar there? I have no idea. They don't explain it. But they all sing happy birthday to him, and that's when they get to knock on the door, and that's the TVA, and the whole joke gets the joke. Pagan isn't new for me, friendo, but it is for Disney. And they because he had a wig on him, and they rip it off, and they bring him to the TVA agency where he meets with Paradox, played by Matthew Macfadyen. And he tells them that you're special. He wants to make it be part of the MCU, which he shows them the clips from Avengers and from other the parts of where the Avengers are from the other movies. And you get more funny jokes, like he says, like, I'm the Messiah, I'm Marvel Jesus. Or another where he probably makes fun of Disney, where he goes to the camera with a microphone and says, suck it, Fox. Or it was get fucked, Fox, I'm going to Disneyland. No. Suck it, Fox, I'm going to Disneyland, get fucked. That was funny. That was funny too. And so he puts on his costume, pretty much more like the accurate type from the comic book, but he tells them that his universe is dying because he lost his anchor being, and that is Logan, which he shows the ending from Logan. So I'm like, so Deadpool is part of the Logan timeline, but in the future all the mutants are dead. So is that why they show? No. Is that why they show a clip where it shows Deadpool dying in Thor's arms? Chris Hemsworth's Thor. And it's like, oh, that happens in a distant future. That's for another time. So, but okay, so like I said, the whole X-Men timeline has been screwed up, so I'm like, okay. So it's like but it is blatantly saying that, that Logan is in the same timeline as the Deadpool movie, so. But yeah, the whole timeline is just screwed up, still. But Paradox, saying that, he wants Paradox. He's acting as a renegade. His group of part of the TVA are acting under the radar from the higher ups of the TVA, and he wants to erase Deadpool's universe. But at the same time, you can be part of the MCU where you can truly matter, which is what he wants, right? But instead, no, he wants to go find another Wolverine. And so, which leads back to the opening where he's finding the TVA agents, and you do get more funny moments when he's using Wolverine's claws, and he sticks one of the claws up the ass of one of the TVA agents, another one where it's stuck in his scrotum. So both are stuck in both of those agents' scrotum and ass. It's like, I'm sorry, but Wolverine is hard. And then the one guy who was leading the group of TVA agents, like, how dare you just disrespect him? He was a hero. He's the only best thing to come out of Canada. And then you get the whole, when he sticks the sword in the guy's mouth, it bounced off right into his mouth, and Deadpool's like, keep my country's name out of your fucking mouth and my sword. Because Ryan Reynolds is Canadian. But I think also that he says as the homage, the saying where he says, keep my country's name out of your fucking mouth. I thought it was definitely was poke funny at Will Smith's after when bitch slapped Chris Rock, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. That was your throwback to that. So now we get the montage of him trying to find the right different Wolverine. One, he gets where he meets a shorter version of Wolverine, which is supposed to be the accurate version of Wolverine, because for years I'm like, really? When he said comic book accurate, I'm like, really? So Wolverine was really short, huh? I did not know that at the time when I was like, really? Wow, Wolverine was that short, huh? Probably because from the cartoons and, of course, from Hugh Jackman from the movies, though, but I didn't know that back then he was that short, though. But so you do get the cool homage to that, and then he meets the other Wolverines, and you get another comic book version with named Patch, where he's wearing the eye patch. So you get a lot of these are comic book versions of Wolverine, which it was cool to see. So you have the real short version of Wolverine. You have the one wearing the eye patch named Patch. You get the old man Logan. Then you get the cool where he wore the original brown and tan suit, where he's fighting the Hulk, and the Hulk's right there, but you don't see his face though. But it's the Hulk. It's supposed to be like Mark Ruffalo's version, and Deadpool's like, "I'm Marvel Jesus, you dull creature!" Like he was trying to do the thing with what Loki said to him before getting hit. And then you also get the one where it's like he's in this pile of bloody skulls, and the whole Wolverine on the X cross. That was another comic book on the cover of the comic book as well. And then you get the another one where he has like one hand. Where he has like this one metal hand. They think that's also another comic book version of it, where he's working like for Apocalypse. So he was part of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, where he's like this long, big thing of hair, big thing of hair with this one metal hand, right? Where it's no hand though, but it's like a metal part hand, no hand, I guess. I think that's supposed to be another version of that comic version of Wolverine. And then you get And then you get Henry Cavill's cameo as the Cavalrine. And Ryan Reynolds' reaction is like, from the back you look like Henry. He's like, oh my fuck! The Cavalrine. The legends are true. And sorry I gotta say this, on behalf of whole humanity, this just feels right. And he's like, we will treat you so much better than those shit fucks down the street. And Henry Cavill's like, you were just leaving. And shoves him right out. I did like the whole joke where they make fun of Warner Brothers hyphen DC. Like, we will treat you so much better than those shit fucks down the street. Which I'm like, I would say so, because Warner Brothers and DC are a bunch of shit fucks. So that also made the joke funny as well. So that was funny to hear. And that's where we make the Wolverine we get to see with the move. This is where we get the Wolverine here, and him wearing the him wearing the yellow and blue costume we all come to know of from the comics and the cartoon. And he's like, oh, nice jammies. That only took 20 fucking years. So yes, he brings him in because he gets the nod to Captain America when he was saying to Sam Wilson in the opening of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. He's like, on your left. Brings in the Wolverine we all know from the comics and the cartoon. And Paradox saying, you brought me the worst Wolverine, saying this one let down his entire world. And then Deadpool gets the idea that they're working under the radar. His superiors do not know what he's doing, and so and then Wolverine stands up and Deadpool's like, "Welcome to the MCU, by the way. You're joining at a bit of a low point." Yeah, but then they end up getting transported to the Void. you watch the Loki TV show, The Void. And so it does look like a Mad Max type of world, yes. And then we get the fight in this we get the. So I do enjoy the fight, the opening where dancing to NSYNC. I did like the fight here, where where you have AC/DC's Hell's Bells playing. That was cool to hear because I love AC/DC, so cool to hear Hell's Bells. And they get of course you get the whole 20th Century Fox logo in the back, yes, which is kind of sad though because like I said, I don't like when they call it 20th Century Studios. It'll always be Fox, and it's Fox, and it always will be Fox. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will still call it Fox, not Studios. Okay, 20th Century Fox will always be 20th Century Fox. Okay. So, but you do get the whole sign there in the back, and while fighting, while AC/DC is playing Hell's Bells. And then we get Chris Evans' cameo as Johnny Storm, which Deadpool thought it was Captain America, but hey, cool is that Chris Evans got to play Johnny Storm again, which brings up into another 2 issues at once, right? First when they get there, they just made Johnny Storm look like a bitch. Yeah, he goes, yeah, flame on, which was nice to hear. But he got outbested by Pyro. Yes, Pyro has the power to manipulate fire, but I know that's one of Pyro's abilities. He manipulates fire, but him just getting if Johnny Storm getting outbeat by Pyro, really, but they just made not Reynolds, Johnny Storm look like a bitch. And the whole thing, he falls on his nuts, hits his head, almost breaking his neck. It's supposed to be the funny joke, right? But they just made Johnny Storm look like a bitch. That's one thing I don't know what I have. And second issue is just directly after that, you got Sabretooth. That's one thing that also pisses me, that pissed me off. Sabretooth, once again played by Tyler Mane, from the first X-Men. After... even when they say what Deadpool says, people have waited decades for this fight, and the whole thing we saw in the trailers before they run at each other before it cuts away. I'm like, when they showed that in the trailers, I'm like, I already knew this was coming. When they did that, when they pulled that shit, we don't get even a minute fight with Wolverine and Sabretooth. When they go at each other, okay. He cuts his head off. Okay, nice. That had to be the nod to X-Men Origins Wolverine when Wolverine was saying to Sabretooth, "I'm gonna cut your goddamn head off. See if that works." That had to be the reference to that when he cut his head off, though. I think it had to be that reference. But they should have made the fight longer. I mean, people when Deadpool saying people wait decades for this fight, they should have made the fight longer. But when they did in the trailers, when they cut away, that was not going to be the case. I knew that it was predictable. Okay, that's one thing that pissed me off. They did dirty. They did Johnny Storm and Sabretooth dirty. Okay, that's one thing I just did not like about it. But after that, then they get brought to the giant corpse of Ant-Man, and where we see more X-Men cameos, including the Juggernaut, which is not played. It's not played by Vinnie Jones, but it's supposedly the same Juggernaut because he's wearing the same outfit that Vinnie Jones wore in X-Men 3: The Last Stand. It's the same character of Juggernaut by a different actor, and you get the other cameos from other X-Men characters like Lady Deathstrike, but it's not Kelly Hugh. It's not. You get Azazel, the teleporting red demon looking one, but it's not Jason Fleming. I think Jason Fleming said that he didn't do it because he felt more like a stunt actor just for doing the action scenes, not doing carry on more. I think he said. So that's why he didn't do it though. But so you get Azazel, but a different actor. And Toad, but a different actor. It's not Ray Park. I'm sure a lot of people are disappointed that it's not Ray Park though. And so, and then the other ones like this big guy with a beard wearing this red and white striped shirt. That's supposed to be the Russian. The Russian that kicked Thomas James Puncher's ass. That's supposed to be that guy, the Russian. And so they get brought in. They're taken to see the leader of the group, Cassandra Nova, who is the twin brother of Charles Xavier. So, but yeah, she's a female version of Charles Xavier, but she's the twin of Charles Xavier. And so, and I did like the fact where Ryan Reynolds, he kept on talking. He keeps on talking and talking that Johnny Storm said all this shit about Cassandra Nova, and so she ripped his skin out, and all of his flesh, the rest of his innards fell to the ground. Excuse me, sorry. But yeah, that's what they just did Johnny Storm dirty like that. That just pissed me off. But I did like that Logan called Deadpool out. He's like, "You stupid piece of shit! You got him! You just got him fucking killed." So I did like he called him out on that. Yes, thank you, Logan. But then Ryan Reynolds was like, "Hey, we're all grieving. You know what he was doing to the budget." And then another thing, I know like a lot of people probably like the villain of Cassandra Nova, but I didn't. Played by Emma Corrin. I'm sorry, she sucked. Okay. I know probably people say different otherwise though, but to me she sucked. She was once again another lame villain. Okay. I don't know why can't the MCU can make like likable good villains, but I'm sure but it's probably just me in my opinion. To me, of the MCU recently, the best MCU villain I liked was the High Evolutionary from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Because they made the character so unlikable that you want to hate him, which that's what I liked about it. Because a lot of times they try to make us feel sympathy for the villain. And I think that's one thing that I liked about the High Evolutionary. Because he was so unsympathetic, that's why I liked about it. Because how poorly he treated Rocket, mocking him, especially was like, mocking him when he was crying. To me, yeah, that was like, Chikwuki Wuji, who played the High Evolutionary, he did a good job. To me, he was one of the recently better MCU villains. And I like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. To me, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and this film, even despite the fact I have issues with it, like I'm saying right now, I still like the movie. To me, those two are the only decent MCU movies I've seen. The rest, before or after, have been nothing but shit. So, but like I said, despite the complaints I have with the movie, I still like it regardless, though. Because the main thing, what kept the movie is, that's what it is. It's Wolverine and Deadpool. That's what made the film work. It's the chemistry between the two they have. That's what made the film work. That's why the film made over $1 billion, because of the hype between bringing Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds together for a proper Deadpool Wolverine movie. That's why the film made so much money. Not because of Shawn Levy, okay? Not because of him. It's because of the hype between they have for these two characters. That's why it made the money. So, Alioth comes in, which Deadpool mentions from Loki season 1 episode 5. Yeah, so yeah, Alioth is in this, but they manage to escape. They get out, and so eventually along the way, before they stop at this diner talking, and then along the way they meet Dogpool and Nicepool, which also played by Ryan Reynolds. Nicepool. They give him the van, the Honda, right? And more of the jokes, like how Deadpool is like doing Spider-Man impersonating, right, with the web sling, and Dude was like, "Stop it." And one of the best parts of the movie, where I really loved, because Deadpool says he doesn't know how to fix Wolverine's timeline. And so I love the fact that how Hugh Jackman just rips right. He just lays right into Deadpool, verbally abusing him. Say like, it's like, you know what? You're a fucking joke. No wonder the Avengers didn't take you, or the X-Men. They'll take fucking anyone. And you are a ridiculous, immature, half-wit moron. I have never met a sadder, more attention-starved, jabbering little prick in my entire life. And that says a lot, because I've been alive for more than 200 fucking years. And that ball chick was right about one thing. You will never save the world. You couldn't even save a relationship with a goddamn stripper. Motherfucker, I wish I could say you die alone. But it's one of God's best jokes that you can't die. Except that's on all of us. Well, you got nothing to say, mouth? I really enjoy... Hugh Jackman pulled it off very well. I mean, how he just rips right into Deadpool like that. Hugh Jackman, and it was natural to hear Wolverine, Hugh Jackman curse, like, using the F-bombs a whole bunch of times. It just felt really natural every time he says it to me, I get the laugh every time, but it was just natural to him to hear him say that. So, but it's very rarely for someone to get under Deadpool's skin like that, and then now that Deadpool just got his ass got torn a new asshole basically, and now he's being all serious. Is like, I'm gonna fight you now, and I really enjoy the whole fight where they're fighting in the van. While you did get the quick shot of hearing from the song from The Greatest Showman, also Hugh Jackman was in it. But then while they're fighting, while listening to the song from Grease. The ending that was playing from Grease. I really enjoyed how they were just fighting between each other in this confined space of the van, and it's like Deadpool's like, oh, I take it back. The Honda Odyssey fucks hard, but you won't be Needle Dick. And it's like, well, we're just getting started, bub. And then by the next morning, like, Deadpool is already wrapped up in the seatbelt. And then he gets where then we get the cameos where they get taken to this other location, and that's where you get the cameos from Elektra, played once again by Jennifer Gardner, and you get Wesley Snipes playing Blade. Cool. It was cool. It was great to see Wesley Snipes coming back as Blade again. It was really cool to see him coming back as Blade. So yeah, that was a great positive. Cool. And then we get Channing Tatum playing Gambit, which for years they wanted to do his solo spin-off of Gambit, which he was wanted to play, but they never did the movie, so that's why he's in this. And he did a good job as playing Gambit. With talking with his with Gambit's accent, because he has an accent he's French, I think he is. From Louisiana, because at the time Louisiana was owned by the French, right? So that's why Remy LeBeau, aka Gambit, he has an accent like a French accent from Louisiana French accent, Southern accent. It's a French accent, sorry. It's French. I will say the first time because he's speaking like he's talking like he's French, right? And I thought Channing Tatum did pull the accent off well as Gambit. The name's Remy LeBeau, Le Diable Blanc, but you can call me the Gambit. And this the whole thing with Deadpool is how he can't understand what he says. Like, I'm sorry, who's your dialect coach? The Minions? Out of all the cameos, the weakest is Jennifer Gardner's, because honestly, I don't mind her in Daredevil, but I enjoy the director's cut of Daredevil, and where she's in it a lot less, though, which was satisfying to me, though, but I didn't mind her in Daredevil. But her spin-off movie sucked. I didn't watch the Daredevil director's cut because of her, which she was in a lot less, which I prefer. It was more of the investigating on the murder of this murder, solving the case in the director's cut of Daredevil. But all the weakest... Do people really care about Elektra, honestly? Part of me says no, because I'm like, because her film sucked. Part of me is like, okay, cool to see Jennifer Garner coming back, but the thing is, though, do we really care about Elektra? No, we don't. So, out of the cameos, she was by far the weakest of the cameos. I mean, I think it would be cool, because they mentioned the Punisher. I think it would have been cool to have Thomas James the Punisher in there. Because they mentioned the Punisher, even when they bring in the bazookas, like, which Punisher? There's been like 5 of them. Now, it doesn't have to be a Punisher, because they mentioned the Punisher, but they don't mention which one. It could have been a different version that we had not seen on the screen, so. But, to me, I think it would have been cool to see, like, Thomas Jane's Punisher. Or, hell, I think it would have been even funnier if Dolph Lundgren just popped up as the Punisher from the '89 movie, which I really do enjoy. I think it's underrated, I think. But him popping up with the skull on the shirt, okay? That's one thing my brother does not like about it. My brother is just dumb. Sometimes he's dumb, but he has not watched that movie because he won't watch because he doesn't have the skull in his shirt. That's the main reason why he won't watch the Dolph Lundgren movie, even though he has not seen it. But he won't watch it because he doesn't have the skull in his shirt. That's the main reason why, okay? Yes, okay, but if you want to do that, okay, that would have been cool if you came in, but yes, but let him have the skull on the shirt, okay, for God's sakes, yes, okay. But that would be cool if you, I would say cool to either Dolph Lundgren or Thomas Jane. So, instead of the Elektra cameo. And the whole thing with Magneto, and it's like, he's dead. Fuck! Now Disney decides to get cheap? Or the other thing with Blade is like when Deadpool's like, I thought you were retired. And Blade's like, retarded? Retired. I'm in the void. I'm not trying to get canceled again. I don't like you. You never did? Which that was the whole point, because when they worked together in the third Blade movie, because Wesley Snipes did not like Ryan Reynolds. He did not like Ryan Reynolds, but of course, like I guess for this, where Ryan Reynolds told him to come back as Blade in this because he called Wesley Snipes up, so. But that's where you get the whole homage of, I don't like you, because they didn't like each other. Well, no, it's more Wesley Snipes. He did not like Ryan Reynolds while making the third Blade film. But it was cool that Ryan Reynolds did manage to get Wesley Snipes to come back as Blade. That was cool, okay. And the whole thing was just retarded. That got a laugh out of me. Also with Gambit, it was nice they finally get the whole comic accurate look for Gambit, the whole trench coat and the other part of his costume, and to me, Channing Tatum is already a better Gambit than Taylor Kitsch is from X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yes, I would already say yes. Channing Tatum, to me, yes, he was better than Taylor Kitsch's Gambit. Okay, yes. Maybe because I'm not a fan of the actor. Okay, but I already said that because during the whole fight in the whole third act in the inside of the corpse of Ant-Man, right? It was cool that how Gambit finally managed to use his cards properly compared to the other one, and six him in, and boom. Or he kills the Russian with his staff. That's what he also has, his staff too. So he kills the Russian with that. Cool. But then X-23 comes in once again, played by what was her name? Daphne Keane, playing Laura, aka X-23. Once again, come back from Logan, which was supposed to be that was her, the same one from the same X-23 from Logan. She's more grown up now. So cool too as well. And you do get the Hugh Jackman pulled this off very well. Some good dramatic acting from Hugh Jackman, where he's sitting at the campfire, and Laura, X-23, I was calling her Laura, tells saying you're a good man, Logan, and it's like he say I'm the worst Wolverine, and he says that suit says differently. And Hugh Jackman can only he pulled this off very well. Just his face, his facial expressions, how he explains how, it was like, because he kept begging and wanting to. From his backstory, how he became the worst Wolverine. It's like because the suit is the only thing is the only thing he has left of his former comrades of the X-Men. He says how they kept begging him to join. That's why they wanted to wear the suit. And when he was off drinking, getting drunk at the bar, the humans came and killed them. Which, by the way, that kind of makes you scratch your head. I'm like, humans came and killed the rest of the X-Men. So I guess what humans are powerful enough to kill, like, the mutants of Jean Grey, or Storm, or Charles Xavier, or Beast, or Cyclops? I'm like, how are the humans more powerful enough to kill those mutants from his version, right? I'm like, how? That makes me scratch my head. I'm like, how? How are these humans more powerful enough to kill powerful humans, like especially like Charles Xavier or Storm or Jean Grey? But I don't know. That kind of, to me, was like, okay, that kind of made me scratch my head, But regardless, though, the whole dramatic moment with Hugh Jackman was when he was explained. Though he did a good job of telling it. But I couldn't have him thinking I wanted to be there. So Hugh Jackman, he pulled that scene off very well. And then it's when they're going back and then they get the bazooka, and they mention the Punisher. It's like, oh, which one? There's only 5 of them. And I did like the joke where Blade goes and Wesley Snipes goes and says, "There's only ever been one Blade. There can only ever be one Blade." Of course, that was the poke fun when Ryan Reynolds was looking at the camera. Of course, that was poking fun of the Mahershala Ali MCU version, which they still having production problems with. So I do like to poke fun of that. I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, you know what? That film is having so many problems. Just stop. Just don't make the movie, please. Okay. If you're having so many problems, just don't make the Blade movie. All right. Just don't make it. If it has like, so many problems with the production delays, the pushbacks, don't make the movie at all. Okay. If you're having so many problems. But they might like, why couldn't they have Thomas Jane's Punisher? Oh, it's a different studio. People forget Wesley Snipes' Blade was New Line Cinema, okay? That was years before the merger with Warner Bros. Blade was New Line Cinema, so if they can get Blade in here, they could at least get Thomas Jane's Punisher in there. But I'm just saying. And another major issue I have with it was the whole fight during this whole fight scene. It was like so shaky cam. It was shot by a different director. That's why I don't think Shawn Levy is not the right guy for the direct action stuff like this. Because the whole thing was shaking. I mean, we see Wolverine didn't really do much of anything because we see him in the back. We don't see him pretty much kill a bunch of people up close because he's like fighting in the back and Deadpool's right here. And everyone's doing their whole thing with the whole shaky cam up and down. So that was I did not care for this action scene because it was too late. Shaky cam reminds me of the freaking Bourne Identity movies. I'm not a fan of those movies either. I don't care about the Bourne Identity franchise, but I didn't like the way that the whole fight was shot. It was like someone just directed this whole someone else directed this whole action scene. I mean, the other actions with Deadpool in the van, Wolverine in the van, or the opening with Bye Bye Bye, and the whole thing we're fighting in the void beforehand. But this was just like someone else took the direction and just shot differently with the whole shaky cam. So I'm like, and we didn't see Wolverine do much of kill because he's in the background, like far off back here. We hardly get to see him kill people, and Deadpool's like he's right here, and Wolverine's right in the back right here. We hardly get to see that, so... And plus, with a shaky cam as well, didn't help. But it was cool to see, like, with Blade fighting, when I do see it. He's fighting Azazel and Toad and kills both of them. Or when someone shoots at him, he gets a gun and quickly and just goes quick draw. So it was cool to see. Wesley Snipes once again did a good job. Once again, as coming back as Blade, it was cool to see him. He was badass when we get to see him again. And of course, it was fun to hear him get to see the line from the first movie. Some motherfuckers are still trying to ice skate uphill. And with the whole thing with Gambit, with using his cards, blowing people up, that was cool to see. And then that's when and with Laura killing Juggernauts. And because they need to get the helmet to put on Cassandra Nova's head to stop using her powers to make him get home. And while Cassandra sticks her finger in Wolverine's head to see inside his head, puts the helmet on, but they can't get home unless they take the helmet off. And you get another nice moment from Hugh Jackman telling it to take it off because it's like, I'm wearing the suit because I'm an X-Man. And Charles, if as much as I would kill, as much as every bone in my body wants to fucking kill you, he would not let me stand here and watch you die. This is for him. This is for Charles. Once again, good moments from Hugh Jackman. And he's like, he loved, because I was like, my brother loved you. He loved all of us. And if he knew where you were, he would have tore a hole in the fucking universe to bring you home. Hugh Jackman, he pulled... It was like Hugh Jackman was pretty much... I think it was pretty much... Even though I said the best part of the whole movie is the whole chemistry between Deadpool and Wolverine, but Hugh Jackman was pretty much most of the shining moment for me from this movie. But I said, Ryan Reynolds once again did a good job as Deadpool. Same with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. So that's what kept this movie together, because that's the main chemistry between these two, right? They're banter back and forth, how they're always just fighting each other. Made the film work, because that's what it's about, Deadpool and Wolverine. So Cassandra Nova gets a sling ring she took from a Doctor Strange variant after she killed him, creates the portal. They get in before Eliath arrives. Now, question is though, is Blade, Gambit? Gambit will. No, so it does say just simply he's not dead because yes, I did hear about the whole the reveal of the cast from Avengers Doomsday. So Channing Tatum is gonna be in it. So I have to assume this is the one we see from this movie. So he's not dead though. But the whole thing is though, they mentioned like their universes, like Blade and Elektra's universes were gone because it said like their world's not worth saving and they didn't get to fight for it. So that means that their world doesn't exist anymore, which that kind of sucks for Blade because in his world, from the New Line Cinema movies, okay, that sucked. But by the end, after everything's said and done, like they talk what was her name? Also from Loki, right? She's in charge of the TVA, fully in charge of the TVA. Because she comes back. I forget her name. But, Ryan Reynolds mentions, like, oh, we have some friends we left behind. Can you send them back to their worlds? Whatever. That had to be the case because by the end, when they're back at the apartment with all Ryan Reynolds' friends, Laura is there. X-23 is there. So that means, okay, so she got saved. Does the same thing applies for Gambit and, Blade and Elektra? So they got saved as well? But if their world didn't exist, so where are they going though? That kind of makes no sense to me. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing in Spider-Man: No Way Home, where Doc Ock, Electro, Green Goblin, Lizard, and Sandman, when they all got sent back. I mean, do they get sent back to the moment where they died? Especially Doc Ock and Green Goblin and Electro. Did they get sent back to the moments where they die? I don't know. That's not explained. So it's kind of like similar to that, though. I would like to assume that Blade and Elektra live, and Gambit too. Because Gambit, he's come back in Avengers Doomsday, so obviously he's gonna live. But if that's the case, that did happen because Laura is there with them at the end. So I guess they did get saved. So, but I just wish they would see it. We would see it though, but. But anyway, they get back and they go the whole joke, you know, was like, oh, Disney brought him back. They're gonna make him do it till he's 90. And that's when Cassandra Nova comes back, kills Pyro because she was working with Paradox. And so then we get the whole thing about the whole Time Ripper thing because Paradox has this whole Time Ripper thing where he destroys timelines. So she wants to use it to destroy all the worlds except for the Void. And then that's where the whole Deadpool Corp comes in, all the variants of Deadpool. There's a cowboy Deadpool, which is voiced by Matthew McConaughey, that was cool to hear. And of course we get Ladypool, which is voiced by Blake Lively. Not played by Blake Lively, just the voice. It was a stunt woman. So it was cool because of Blake Lively, of course, Ryan Reynolds' wife. And which, by the way, before the whole fight, listen to Bye 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 is playing. He's like there are 206 bones of the human body. 207 I'm watching Gossip Girl. Because Gossip Girl, because Blake Lively was in that, so there's your reference to there as well. And you get the floating Deadpool head is voiced by Nathan Fillion. And then there's a whole bunch of other variants of Deadpools. They shoot the nice pool, which, by the way, another joke when Deadpool is mentioning about the whole, making fun of the whole multiverse, right? It's like, it's been miss after miss after miss. Just take the L and go, right? That was funny too, where he's just making fun of the multiverse because all the previous movies have done so poorly. That was fun. They're making fun of them because it's been done. It was been poorly done after the other. So that was him making fun of it. So that was funny. And then they shoot the nice pool, and they won't shoot the dog though. So that's how funny how Hugh Jackman just walks across easily because he was carrying the dog. And so then you get the whole fight with them while listening to Madonna. You know, live like a prayer. That was cool to hear the song. I enjoy that song. And of course, that's where we get finally people waited for years to see him finally put on the mask, and that's where we get. It was cool to him seeing finally putting on the mask. And it was nice to see they were taking out all these other Deadpools. But I gotta say, I wish they would have done more creative ways to killing all these Deadpools. I mean, pretty much the most part, it was just they just stab. Yeah, we do see an arm flying off. I do see that, yes. But I wish they would see more dismemberments, you know? Like, more legs and more arms flying off, even cutting off heads. I would like to see more. But you do see an arm flying, but I would like to see more dismemberments, because especially with Hugh Jackman, we could see him just like hacking and slashing. Instead of just stab. And it was all pointless because they all come back as they all can regenerate. And then Peter comes up, and all the Deadpools, they gush over him because every Deadpool has a Peter, so they all gush over him. And while they go in to stop Cassandra Nova. And I do like the fact that, you know, Hugh Jackman says he was going to do the sacrifice, but then Deadpool decides, you know, hey, I'm going to do it. But he joins him anyway. And of course, seeing him without no shirt on, showing off his abs. And just how Ryan Reynolds is looking at it is like this. Well, Madonna's playing still. And they overpower it. The thing blows up so does Cassandra Nova. She blows up. And the TVA gets there. And while the Goo Goo Dolls, Iris is playing. And I don't want the world to see me. I just want you to know who I am. That was cool to hear as well. And so Paradox, he gets arrested. And then they go off to eat, and they mention Shawn because the Avengers from the first Avengers movie. And so they get back to his apartment with Weird Al. That would have been funny too, Weird Al. But Blind Al. And we see all the rest of the characters of his friends at the table, including Laura's there, so she's saved. So it makes you think, well, Blade, Gambit, and Elektra, are they saved too as well? And during the credits, it was nice that we saw the behind the scenes of all the previous Fox properties, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, even Elektra as well, and Daredevil. So it was cool to see the behind the scenes because it was supposedly they're saying goodbye to the Fox property movies before studios, right? While Green Day is playing, Time of Their Lives. So that was nice to see the song playing, but it was nice to see all the behind the scenes of the makings of the previous movies as a way of saying goodbye to 20th Century Fox. And then after the credits, we see Deadpool back at the TVA saying, "Hey, I'm not the one who got Johnny Storm killed. He said those things himself." So he goes and plays back saying that Chris Evans said all the stuff he actually did say it. So, God, I'm way over an hour at this point. I didn't mean to make this long. Jesus criminy. But yes, I do enjoy the movie, despite the fact the flaws of the movie. I don't think Shawn Levy, to me, he's not the right choice of director to make this movie. The action fight during the whole inside the giant Ant-Man. So it looks like someone else directed the movie. It was directing that scene. It wasn't accurate with the other previous fight scenes we saw. I'm like, the whole shaky cam, I did not like. To me, that was the least fight of the movie. The whole thing with the whole X-Men timeline, yes, that just still bugs me about it. That what they did, Johnny Storm and Sabretooth, they did them dirty. That just pissed me off. But regardless, though, I still enjoy the movie because the thing is, though, yeah, the main thing was Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's as Wolverine and Deadpool. That's what made the film work. I love their chemistry, their banter between back and forth, their arguments, them fighting each other. Hugh Jackman's he got to some dramatic moments like him talking to Laura, or the whole moment with taking the helmet off. Good dramatic performances from Hugh Jackman. He sold those performances. Yes, finally wearing the yellow costume he wore, and the mask too. Fans waiting for years for that. They all got what they wanted. And yes, the whole thing that always is the last time he's going to play Wolverine. Well, of course, there's talk about him bringing back for the Doomsday or the Secret Wars. So, the thing is, though, you never say never. Like I said, Tom Hardy said it was going to be the last time he was going to play Venom. Bullshit, okay? They're always going to keep asking to come back for more, so never say never, okay? That's what I'm betting on. Even though they say this is the last time we're going to see Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, never say never. I'll believe it when I see it. If he's not, I'll be surprised if he's not in Doomsday or Secret Wars. Okay? Him and Deadpool. Because they're bringing back the other X-Men characters like Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, even though he's 85. He's not going to probably do much. So they'll bring back other X-Men characters. So, we'll see though. But they both did a good job. I love their chemistry. It was really, made the film work. The best parts of the movie. And like I said, I enjoy the opening fight with Bye using his skeleton in ways as like nunchucks and stuff like that. Was a clever way. The jokes for the most part I thought were fine, like the whole making fun of Disney stuff like that. I enjoy, was funny. The fight in the van to me was one of the best fights in the movie. And then the soundtrack, like AC/DC's Hell's Bells, Madonna playing, or the Goo Goo Dolls playing. The cameos, for the most part, were worked, like Henry Cavill's cameos, Wolverine. Great to see Wesley Snipes once again playing his Blade. Channing Tatum's Gambit was cool. But like I said, it was cool to see Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, but that just pissed me off what they did with him. They did him so dirty. Same with Tyler Mane, Sabretooth, okay? And Elektra, she was also one of the least cameos for me. Like, do we really care about her character? I would think her cameo coming back. To me, it was better. If it was Thomas Jane's Punisher, that would have been cool to see. I'm like, come on. If they bring Wesley Snipes' Blade, if that was New Line Cinema, come on. At least they could have bring Thomas Jane, because that was Lionsgate at the time, so they could have done that though. But it was great to see Wesley Snipes come back in as Blade. I'm sorry. The whole Mashar Ali's version of Blade, just stop, okay? You're having so many production problems. Don't make the movie at all, okay? But also, the thing is, like I said, Cassandra Nova, Emma Corrin, she was another lame villain, okay? To me, she sucked. But overall, yes, despite all the complaints I have with the movie, the flaws, the issues I have, I still enjoy the movie, though. It is still one of my top favorite films of 2024. I still enjoy the movie. Yes, it held the R rating. What it did uphold the R rating. It did own up to that. So I enjoyed Deadpool Wolverine. It was it's either Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and this film are the best of the MCU films I've seen in a while, because the rest of the films before or after have sucked, okay? So I better stop here because I'm way over an hour here. I don't want to make this a long freaking ass video. So, but regardless, though, I enjoy the movie. It was cool to see them together again. To me, Shawn Levy was not the right choice to write. I wish it was David Leitch, but he was doing the Fall Guy. But he was not the right choice of director for me, though. But regardless, though, I still enjoy the movie, though. So, but yeah, that's Deadpool and Wolverine. I gotta stop it. I really don't want to make this too long of a project now. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next movie review, and we'll see you next time. Later. But I will still say, yeah, it was still fun to see this film, see them together again. So, but we'll have to wait and see if they're coming back for those other Avengers movies. But never say never, like I said. So. But regardless, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Later.